everybody, welcome back to Cooking with Glenn and Kati.
Today we're going to be making some nut brittle. We'll be using peanuts and English walnuts, cashews, almonds, and pecans. You can use any kind of nut you want to use. That's the reason I call it nut brittle. When it first came out, it was peanut brittle, and it actually was one of the selling points on the first microwave. They wanted to show people why they needed a microwave, and this is one good reason. This recipe goes very quickly, so make sure you have all your ingredients measured out and ready to go. 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of light corn syrup, and I use the Cairo brand. 1 to 2 cups of nuts, whatever kind you prefer. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 tablespoon of butter, and 1 teaspoon baking soda. Most recipes call for a greased baking sheet, but I use parchment paper. So I put a piece of parchment paper on the pan. Never confuse this with wax paper. They're not the same thing. They look the same, but they're not. The wax paper will stick on the bottom of what you're cooking, so never use wax paper. Use parchment paper. You can use parchment paper over and over again. This piece of parchment paper has been used to make 6 batches of the nut brittle, and I can still use it today. Let's start making the peanut brittle. The first thing you do is you add the sugar into a large bowl. I'm using an 8-cup measuring bowl. You want it deep because it bubbles up. And with that, I'm going to add the light corn syrup. Mix the sugar and the Cairo syrup. I use a large spoon and another spoon. The reason I do that is so that I can scoop all the stuff off the spoon and get it back in the bowl. I'm using roasted peanuts, but if you use a raw nut, you need to add it at this stage, at the very beginning. Now I'm going to put it in the microwave and cook it for 4 minutes. Now it's bubbling, and I'm going to add the peanuts. I'll stir them in. Just mixing them. You do it quick just to make sure they're covered. Use your spoon to kind of clean this other spoon off. And then we'll put it back in the microwave. There you go. I put it in the microwave for 3.5 minutes. Okay, here we go. And look at it, it's bubbled up. I'm gonna go ahead and take it and we'll go to the next step. Okay, I'm gonna add butter. You do it quickly. And I'm gonna add the vanilla flavoring to it. This smells amazing. Stir it up and we'll put it back in the microwave for 1.5 more minutes. Last cooking. It's bubbled up. And now I'm going to put some baking soda in here. And that's going to make it bubble up and make it airy. Look at this. Watch how it works. A lot of bubbles in this. Once you have it mixed up, you put it on the pan. And you go down the pan like I'm doing. Fill the pan up. You do not spread this out. It's tempting to spread it and make it thinner, but don't do it. This is extremely hot, so you don't want to touch it. You just leave it for about 30 minutes to an hour, and it will be cool to the touch, and then you'll be able to break it up. The container here is very, very hot too, so you don't want to put water in it right now. But you want to put it in the sink and let it sit for about 15 minutes. Then you want to run hot water in it and let it sit. And it will dissolve all the sugar. And you may have to put hot water in there twice, but it'll all come out. I made some different nut brittles for example, so you can kind of see what they look like. My family likes different nuts, and they like the different amounts too. So let's look at these. My dad He's one that was the original lover of peanut brittle. And I made him some, and I put 1 cup. That's what most recipes use. They say 1 cup of nuts. And he told me, he said, son, this is nut brittle. I want a lot of nuts in it. So he said, put 2 cups. And you can see, there's lots of nuts in there. So my dad will be very happy with that one. I like these nuts, and my sister likes these nuts too. These are a favorite. They're Virginia peanuts. They're extra large. They're by Harris Teeter. Well, they're almost gone. I made a couple batches out of these. This is what it looks like. I used 1.5 cups, not 2 cups. And these again are larger peanuts than the ones that Dad had me get. I'm gonna be a little bit selfish. I wanna have some of this. I'm gonna start breaking up the one I love. The one that has the fancy, extra large Virginia peanuts. So you just take it, pops apart, you break it, and you want them to be kind of smaller pieces because that's a lot of candy right there. I'm ready to try it, and if you look closely, you can see the airiness in it. It's gonna add to the crunch. It won't stick to your teeth. It'll be very good. Perfect. I made 7 batches, but 6 different nuts. I made 2 batches of the one I did today. It's ready to crack. It's been about 30 minutes. And you see how easy it comes off the parchment paper? And look at it. It's beautiful. I've made 7 batches, and every batch has turned out perfectly. So this is really a no-fail recipe. You've got to know your microwave, so you may have to adjust the time just a little bit. It'll be perfect every time.
My dad and I are going to be going over to my grandparents, so we are going to package up the peanut brittle that my Paw-Paw loves with the 2 cups of peanuts, as well as the almond brittle that my granny loves. So we just chose some different lovely tins for them. I've washed my hands, and I'm going to go ahead and put some of this in here just so you can see what it looks like. I was able to put all the brittle in this container, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put this lid on here like so. And there you go. What a perfect gift for Secret Santa, parties that you're going to, a hostess gift. And the almond brittle is ready for my granny. Can't wait to take it to her.
There you go. And Paw-Paw, that's for you.
Oh, I love this. Oh, look at that peanut brittle.
Remember how you used to like Almond Joy?
Good. Very good.
Looks great.
We've got enough to last us 10 years.
There's nothing wrong with it except it needs to be eaten. And I'm working on it, can't you see?
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and be sure to click the notification button. Comment any thoughts or feedback. We'd love to hear from you and what your family loves to do for holiday parties or for Secret Santa gifts, anything at all. And we will have a new recipe for you next week, so we can't wait to see you then.
See ya.
Bye!